Let's go!
Welcome to PR but it's professional PR. I'm Nora, who have been studying PR for 5 years in both Vietnam and the UK. If you young people who dream of being a professional PR, since watching some flashy movies such as Sex and the City or thousands TV series of the PR industry, and you want to keep that dream shiny, then stop listening to this podcast. But if you decided to make that dream come true, or just curious about the real life of a PR person, then you're at the right place to figure it out. So prepare to be disillusioned. Today's episode will be about future competencies of peers and opportunities for Gen Z PR practitioners. In the first part of our podcast today, let's meet an experienced communications expert, Rebecca Sangster-Kelly, who I really admire since the first time I had a chance to listen to her sharing. She's now working as a principal consultant, communications and stakeholder management coach. I believe that she will give us some interesting pieces of advice that could help us Gen Z to build our competencies to pursue our careers in the PR industry. So welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me.
What do you think about the role of PR professional evolved in recent years, and what new competencies are required to be successful in the field today?
It's an interesting question because it is, when you think of like even just 20 years ago, if you think where the internet was, or even 25 when before it was a 24-hour news cycle, you had a lot more space and time to react to things. The advent of more internet dependent and integrated technology, as a PR professional, you need to be able to react within 10 minutes. You need to be able to at least have stuff set up that you've agreed with the managers, the bosses, the people to have holding statements. You need to be ready to act in the best way possible to address and sustain a reputation. So I think when it comes to what's the competencies you need to be able to be, you need to be prepared. You need to think through all the options, no matter how awful and uncomfortable it is to say, oh, this might happen.
And we have to prepare any possibility that can affect our reputation.
That's the gist of what I this is the hardest part.
Yeah, it's very hard, to be honest. How could we prepare for our career with so much challenges and so much responsibility to take in our industry?
Well, if you're already keeping an eye on the technology and what's coming, it's about looking at the theory. So even like when you think Gronig's, that your Gronig's theory about having in conversation that there's broadcasting to a group, there's engaging, and then with the internet you have the more two-way conversation and engagement. That understanding what you want to achieve in the different PR strategies you develop, in terms of the communication the client wants, and then with the technology partnered in, what does that theory look like in practice? It's always a bit good to look. I enjoy looking back at the theory to sense check my approach.
I can get that because you have to have the basic knowledge to improve your way to cope with all these risks today, right? And I guess one of the best ways to prevent all these possible risks in the future is that you have to know how to work effectively with other departments. What competencies are required to collaborate effectively with other departments?
So I would say that in terms of how to do it, people with respect and building relationships and understanding what you have in common and what you both have to gain from working together. Because sometimes other departments are so used to working alone, they don't know how, they're the ones who don't know how to work with others. But you need to be patient. You need to treat it like any relationship. It's just a professional one. And work towards reminding people of what you both have to gain by working together, how it's going to benefit, and focus on what's in it for them.
Do you have any advice for aspiring PR professional who want to developing the career in this industry?
As busy and as stressed out and as challenging as life can be, relationships are key to getting things done. So, as much as everything else is screaming, having that coffee, taking time to build and maintain relationships is a valuable activity.
And I think that all these sharing and all these opinions that you have given me today will help a lot of Gen Z PR professional out there to pursue their career in this industry.
I'm happy to help
Yeah.
where I can, or at least give some food for thought.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice of you.
Thanks for having me, and all the best with your podcast episode.
Wow, I've learned so much from that conversation with Rebecca about the future of PR. But now, let's hear from some young voices in the industry. I'm so excited to welcome 3 young and dynamic PR professionals to our podcast. Cici is a communication coordinator at Metro Trains Melbourne, where she's responsible for developing and implementing effective communication strategies that engage stakeholders and build brand awareness. Thảo and Liên, on the other hand, are the founders of the very first Studygram account for young PR professionals in Vietnam. Through their popular Instagram page, they share tips and insights on how to succeed in the field and build a successful career. Let's dive into the conversation and hear from Cici, Thảo and Liên about what it's like to be a young PR professional in today's world. So welcome Cici, Thảo and Liên. Can you tell me what is actually PR in your opinion?
Like the keywords that I will refer to is the humanize. PR is just like how we gonna manage, how we gonna expand our fame and the reputation of us, and by humanize the way that we think about an organization or a company, it will make us like know how to keep and manage the reputation for that person.
So I really like that Lian tapped on the humanization kind of things, because it's actually really true and very simple that way. I feel like just how the university taught us PR could be a bit different, because they kind of just put out some really practical practices every day for us to solve as well, right at uni, or encourage us to go out and then do our own projects, just go up to the clients or to go up to whatever they assign to us, to actually practice PR while we're at uni. So I think that's just one thing that I think it might be different from people like who study in Vietnam, but like at the end of the day, it's still PR. It's still the same idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your answers. In your opinion, what are the strengths of us or advantages of us Gen Z when we start our career in PR industry?
So this is from my experience in the last event with the Vietnam Public Relations Network. There was a person. She is the CEO of a academy that teach the children, especially the alpha generations, to have like the most self-awareness skill set and mindset. She said from her experience and her research that the Gen Z is the generation who pursuing truth. Whenever a news appeared on the social media, we're gonna like searching. You know, even the AIDA model framework of PR is now added one more step is like the search, because the behavior of searching of social media and multi-channel is now making us the person who question back that is it real, or is it the ideal that I have to pursue or I have to listen to. We always find the truth in the outer world and also the inner world of ourselves.
In my talk with Rebecca, who is an experienced communication coach in the UK. She mentioned a lot about building relationships in your network as a competence in the PR industry. Do you think that is there any difficulties for us, the young people, to reach out to older professional in our industry, and how to do that more easier?
Actually, I was kind of scared to reach out to people, but around 1 month up to now, I realized that building network and have your own network is a really important thing for my job, and I think it's important for everyone. So I start to build my LinkedIn and also reach out to people through LinkedIn, and I think it's really fun to talk with the people that have experience in the field.
You have to work a lot with the customer or the partner of your corporation. So I think you will have like some tactics to do that, like in your way.
I think you just need to keep the atmosphere like it's happy and fun when you talk with them. Nobody will deny you when you're like an active person and a funny person. I think so.
I have a question for you all. So, what potentials of the PR industry have you seen from your experience with the emergence of various trends such as artificial intelligence or blockchain?
So I probably can tap on this one because I just saw an article the other day. It's from like a co-founder of like a PR firm in Australia. She said that PR it's all about like the 80-20 rule, where 20 is researching and then gathering insights and just doing everything you can to gather the information first. And the 80 is the actual execution. So I reckon with, let's say, with AI coming in to the space, I realized that there's a potential that we can integrate that into that 20 so that AI can do the 20 for us, whereas we put our 100% in the other 80 to kind of just make the execution a little bit better than before, with all the insights coming from AI comparing to what we did in the past, traditionally just like going through all the social media posts by ourselves. That might not be the best way to gather insights. So I think that's just one of the potential of AI coming in, let's say, all of the tedious tasks or like tasks that require the highest level of information, but the rest execution. And in terms of building relationships with humans, between humans and humans, we can still do it because that's human interaction. AI or like any other platform can't really replicate that genuine interaction between human and human. It's just the balance between how we can integrate AI without losing our innate nature as a human. I think that's the most important thing when you try to think about how we're going to use digital platforms or whatever way better than before to kind of like integrate it with our work. So I think that's a huge potential.
Last words, like a keyword that you want to follow in the future in your career?
Be confident and be human with our job.
Yeah, very, very inspiring. Yeah.
Very proper
Yeah.
speech. It's great to listen
Yes.
to you, Leon. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. For me, probably would be purpose. I would love to do my job with a purpose. I think that's the most important thing when you think about just doing PR.
Okay, let me conclude with my keyword. I would choose authentic is my keyword because as Leon said before, our generation, Gen Z, will be the ones that like find out the truth. So you need to be authentic first. Then your work with the truth can be valuable and can support your career. Thank you for joining me today, and I very appreciate all of your opinions and your sharings in this podcast. And I'm really looking forward to collaborating with you guys for another chance and Thank you. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for inviting us.
That was an insightful conversation with our Gen Z peer practitioners from Australia and Vietnam. It's clear that the future of PR is in good hands with these young and innovative minds leading the way, right? As we wrap up, I want to thank our guests for sharing their perspectives and experiences with us today. It's always valuable to hear from a diverse range of voices in the industry, and I hope their insights have provided some valuable takeaways for our listeners. Thanks for tuning into this episode of our podcast. Make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more exciting conversations about the future of PR and beyond.